Aloha. I'm Denise Yamaguchi, the Executive Director of the Hawaii Agricultural Foundation, and I want to welcome you to the Prince Waikiki for the 27th episode of Eat, Think, Drink, Regional Kitchens Transforming Agriculture Through Strategic Investment. Tonight we have the largest number of registered attendees at 271 guests expected to be here this evening. We applaud all of you for being interested in our local agricultural industry and our local food systems. Tonight's program is being recorded and will be available on our website. We ask you to silence your phones and refrain from talking as a courtesy to those presenting this evening. As we kick things off, the bar is now closed out of respect for the speakers and will reopen after tonight's discussion. I would like to acknowledge a few individuals in the audience. I'm not sure if Senator Linda Coit showed up yet, but she was supposed to be here, as well as Senator Michelle Kidani. Are you here? Yeah. And is Representative Amy Peruso here? No, she's supposed to be here tonight too. But thank you for purchasing a ticket and supporting Hawaii Agricultural Foundation and our speakers this evening. I also want to acknowledge a few of our board members, our chairman, Dino Kimoto, and we have board members Lisa Kim and Bob Yee. I would also like to acknowledge our presenting sponsors, Central Pacific Bank. We have with us tonight Brant Farias, Executive Vice President and Chief Marketing Officer, who I'd like to invite up to say a few words.
Hi, great to be here. See a lot of old friends, longtime friends. So on behalf of Arnold Martinez and the rest of the employees of the CPB Ohana, it is my pleasure to welcome you to Eat, Think, Drink 27 Regional Kitchens, Transforming Ag Through Strategic Investments. It's amazing to me that we're talking about the 27th Eat, Think, Drink. I don't think Denise said anything about it, but to have this program go on this long, to have this many events and have a record turnout after this many tries is a true accomplishment. Let's give Denise and the rest of the Hawaii Ag Foundation a warm round of applause. We all covet agriculture, not only because it sustains us without having to import more food, it also creates a pleasing green open space that adds to the beauty of Hawaii and attracts tourists from around the globe. So the work of Denise and her team benefits us all in a significant way, as well as our economy. Tonight we have a great lineup of speakers. Our keynote speaker is an old friend, Hawaii State Senator Donovan Dela Cruz, representing District 17. We are also pleased to have First Lady Jamie Kanani Green lead a panel of impressive speakers. These include Keith Hayashi, Superintendent of Hawaii's public school system, who is a outstanding supporter of our public school system. Candice Ka'ana'ana, did I get that right? General Manager of Zippy's Restaurants. Hawaii State Representative Kristen Kahaloa from the lovely town of Kona, and David Wong, owner of Mountain View Farms, a small family farm in Waianae, using all natural techniques, including pigs on a vegetarian diet. I don't know, they might not live right, but that's okay. When it comes right down to it, all of our speakers tonight, including all of you, have one thing in common: a love of our island state and the agricultural industry that sustains us and creates our unique beauty. I'm looking forward to a great program and know that you are all too. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm just going to mention a few of our other sponsors before we start. I want to send a mahalo to Alexander and Baldwin, Bear, Chef Zone and Waihata, Hawaii Gas, Hawaii Long Line Association, Kamehameha Schools, Lendlease, Mahi Pono, the Ulupono Initiative, United Airlines, United Fishing, and Prince Waikiki. We started Eat, Think, Drink in 2016 to engage a wider audience in learning more about food and agricultural issues facing our community. While you hear from our speakers, Eat, Think, Drink wasn't created as a one-way learning opportunity. We hope that through this very casual, friendly environment, that learning happens both ways. You, our audience, learn something from our speakers, and hopefully our speakers have a chance to engage with you after the discussion and learn something from you. So please take the opportunity to engage with our speakers, panelists, and each other. This is truly a unique opportunity that encourages participation by everyone. I'm especially excited about this Eat, Think, Drink because it builds on the last event and provides specifics on how regional kitchens can be a catalyst in making institutional purchasing a reality. We will hear about how the regional kitchens concept may be finally a solution that can move the needle on our local agricultural industry while also feeding our students fresh, healthy, and nutritious meals. Tonight we will hear from Senator Dela Cruz, who has been a dedicated and committed advocate for local agriculture, sustainable development, and economic growth in Hawaii. He represents the 17th District and is chairman of the Senate Ways and Means Committee. He is a visionary not only for his district, but for all of Hawaii. He shares a perspective on how regional kitchens can be game-changing in transforming our food systems, agriculture industry, and diversifying our economy. It is my pleasure to introduce Senator Donovan Dela Cruz.
Aloha. Thank you, Denise, and thank you to all the sponsors. And some of you, I've actually spoke to you about parts of this plan before, so just indulge me. I know some of you, I've been at the restaurant, and I'm like, hey, you gotta listen to this. That's how excited I am about what we're about to do. And what's really exciting is all the other people who are participating in putting this plan together. It's a work in progress, and there's many people that's been involved, and we're already doing parts of it. So it's not just an idea, it's actually something that's slowly happening. And with all of your help, we can get this done a lot faster. Okay, so as Denise talked about, Paula was the last guest speaker, and she outlined a roadmap of what we need to do to get centralized kitchens going. You know, she talked about infrastructure, she talked about big investments, she talked about workforce development. All of those things are critical, and I couldn't agree with her more. So what we tried to do is take her roadmap and actually put a little more detail to it so we can get it accomplished. And I think she also talked about government investment, and that government also is the ultimate body to able to leverage all of its capacity so that we can increase our purchasing power locally. And of course, the First Lady, you know, she's been a champion of feeding the children. She's talked to many people at the Capitol, many of the departments, and because of her efforts, a lot of them they pick up the phone call when I say, hey, we got to talk about food systems. And so I know that she's already doing her best in trying to make sure that they're all participating. So what are regional kitchens? You know, we went to Tacoma, a bunch of us, which you'll see later. A bunch of us went to Sacramento, and we saw two centralized kitchens, because on the mainland it's one central district, it's one district. So we went to see, in this particular picture, this is Sacramento, and you can see how large the ovens are. So when you go to a centralized kitchen on the mainland, you're talking about huge equipment that's able to process food and cook food in large scales. So just like Zippy's, who has a centralized kitchen, a lot of the food is prepared at the kitchen. So farmers can aggregate, they can go to one centralized kitchen, the kitchen can help prepare the food, and then from there it gets distributed. And so why would we want to go from regional kitchen instead of just sticking to our cafeterias? You know, already a lot of farmers, it's probably going to be very difficult for them to try and drive around to that many schools. And they have to, in order for us to be able to scale up ag, you need to have future planting contract purchasing. So this is our current model, right? Here we are in Hawaii, and if we're not getting food from the mainland, we're getting it from a foreign country. So on the mainland, they're doing ag, they're producing, they're processing, they're delivering, all the way to the transport. Oh, it goes this way. And then we see all of that produce coming to Hawaii. And then all of our money going out, including federal dollars that we're getting. So what's the new system? What can we replace that with? So we already have one project in the works, and that's the Regional Kitchen for Central Oahu. So you can see there's 3 complexes: Mililani, Lelahua, and Wailua. So you're talking about almost 15,000 students. So now we're about to embark upon the Central Oahu Regional Kitchen. The contract has been awarded. It's currently in design. It's scheduled to be completed by March 27. So the governor already released the funds for phase 1, I think this past June. Now there's additional monies for phase 2. So how many people are we looking at feeding, and who are they? So this is a list of all the different complexes and how many students in each complex. And this was, and I would just really put this in quotations, this is a preliminary graphic that Department of Education tried to draft to show that it's not just going to be 1 regional kitchens. Right now they have 9. So 1 on Kauai, 3 on Oahu, 2 on Maui, and 2 on the Big Island. So who's using this model now? We went to go see Sacramento. We went to go and see Bethel School District. And we actually went to go see Zippy's too. A whole bunch of us went to go see Zippy's. And you can see all the other school districts on the bottom that are already using a centralized kitchen model. So as I talked about, a bunch of us went to see Zippy's. I mean, Jason probably is maybe not. I don't think he's tired of seeing us yet, but we probably took about 5 or 6 different groups to go and see what Zippy's does. And you can see from him his own quote saying that how important it is for Zippy's, and that model really works for them. So with regional kitchens, if we decide to go in that direction, 9 regional kitchens. But if we don't build the infrastructure and the commodities, we're not going to be able to have the regional kitchens purchase local. They'll be buying still from the mainland. So that's where it gets a lot more interesting and a lot more exciting. So when you start to look at all these commodities that we currently grow in Hawaii, they need to be scaled up if we're going to feed 155,000 students. So if you can just keep that in mind, this image, just keep that in mind. It's not just about DOE building the 9 kitchens. If you look above the line, that's Department of Education. So in the past, a lot of people have told Department of Education, farm to school is just a DOE problem. That's your responsibility. But if you look at how we have it organized here, Department of Education is from the loading zone to the school. Everything below that is ADC, Agribusiness Development Corp, and the Department of Agriculture. They need to help us scale up these commodities. And this is how we're going to be able to base our menus. So as the department is working to create the menus, it needs to be focused on things that are grown here. But we have to build those commodities. And this is also an opportunity for native plants. You know, you look at pia or ho'io. Those are things that, with creative ability, the Department of Education can make sure that those can be in our menu items, and they can be tasty and delicious. So that's also an opportunity to start farming and growing more crops that were native. So there's that line again. So the 3 complexes for this one kitchen, the Central Oahu Regional Kitchen, and then all the inputs. And so all of those inputs now will have to provide enough food for all 9 kitchens. So in order for us to scale up those commodities, we need shared facilities. So, and I'm just going to use this real example that we're currently working on, and that's why David Wong is really important to this process. The pork industry is almost the guinea pig for the shared facilities. So the 5 hog farmers now on Oahu, they need a slaughterhouse. They can't afford a slaughterhouse on their own. So now the state can invest in a slaughterhouse. Those 5 farmers now can use the slaughterhouse, and the state can toll. So they'll be using it, they'll be paying as they're going. And that allows them now for DOE, they can buy processed pork. So when you have many farmers, doesn't matter what the crop is or what the commodity is, you're going to need the shared facility. So may it be rice, may it be kalo, may it be the native Hawaiian plants, whatever they are, they're all going to need specific type of processing, customized for that commodity. And then it can go to the regional kitchen. So this is what it could look like when you have many different crops. So a lot of different farmers that are feeding into the different shared facilities. So the reason why you can see the watermark of the state behind this is because these shared facilities would be located throughout the state depending on where you're starting to build and cluster that commodity. So for rice, it's probably going to be Kauai. There's already 2 rice farmers. Now that they know that the DOE might be able to purchase, they can scale up. So what do these shared facilities allow us to do? Aggregation, consistent contracts. Now DOE know what they're getting, the kind of quality they're getting. Now farmers can actually finance additional growth at their farm, and they can look forward to forward planting contracts. So for pork, we had the option of putting pictures of slaughtered pigs. But I told my staff, nobody wants to see how the sausage is made. They only want to see that. So you can see here, with the small animal slaughterhouse, and let's be clear, it's not just a slaughterhouse. It's going to have to be a slaughterhouse, a processing unit, and cold storage. The slaughterhouse is the first part. You still need to make bacon and pork chops. You have to make sure you have all the choice cuts so that the hog farmers have something to pack and send out. Okay, in this case, we're already looking at the Waianae area where they have a concentration of hog farmers. So the last point is that now the ag program in the Waianae Nanakuli area can have a focus of husbandry. So as we start to look at a workforce pathway, depending on where the commodity is, that ag school can hopefully focus on building a workforce for that commodity group. Okay, so what I want to talk about is the difference in a decentralized model and a centralized model for the shared facilities. So if there's only, in this case, let's just say that there's one slaughterhouse for small animals, at least initially. So it's going to be on Oahu. So that's the black dot. So now everything has to go, all the hog farmers go there, and then from that facility, it gets distributed to the kitchens. So this would be one shared facility because of the magnitude of that commodity, because that's what it's required. And then in the case of rice, we're going to be looking at milling machines, dry storage. It'll probably be the one shared facility for rice on Kauai because that's currently where all the 2 farmers are at and the potential for more. And this is an area where the Kauai schools could get a focus. So this should be decentralized model. Oh no, it's still centralized. So instead of Oahu, you can see everything's now from the shared facility. It goes from Kauai. Okay, why is this really important? And that's why DOT is also involved. Department of Transportation is involved in all of our discussions because of the improvements that have to be made at the harbor. Okay, now we have fruits and vegetables. So this is where I think we're probably going to have a decentralized models because we have enough farmers spread throughout the state. So those are the potential areas for processing for lettuce. And you would just see, it would probably just stay on island because that commodity has enough for the regional kitchens in their area. So it's not a one-size-fits-all. It's not only going to be one shared facility. And there could be a couple commodities where there may be just two shared facilities. So this is where our group went to. When we went to Tacoma, we went to go see the Suquamish tribe. And the tribe has fishing rights along the Bay Bridge area. The tribe started a subsidiary for fishing and for seafood. What they do is they buy all the equipment, all the boats, all the fishing equipment that's needed, and then they train the tribal members to fish. So they catch halibut, they catch salmon, they catch Dungeness crab, manila clams, and gooey duck or king clam. They catch all of that. So the tribal members who go and fish, they now sell it back to the tribe who owns a processing center. So they aggregate from the tribe. So they provide all the equipment, they provide all the training, the tribal members go and fish, they get paid for what they catch, and then from the tribe they aggregate and then they distribute. So they actually even get to the point where they not just retail in the Northwest area, but they export to China as well. And this is a model that I think DHHL and OHA could look at. Because when you're looking at different homesteads, a homestead could say, hey, you know what, we're going to grow a certain crop. And now DHHL and OHA can invest in a shared facility so that they have some economic development. So what I keep reminding people is that it begins and ends with DOE, right? So DOE, they have the students. They have to make sure that we have a future workforce. And so through community colleges and even CTAR, people will go hopefully to learn more about their craft in a certain commodity, get their micro-credentialing. Then they'll help us with production. Then it goes to the tolling facility, goes to the regional kitchen, which serves DOE. So it begins and it ends with them. This is also an opportunity for us so that when each of the different high schools, ag programs, decide what they're going to focus on, we can do sister school with different areas. So Hokkaido has a husbandry program. If Waianae does husbandry, now we can do a sister school with high school in Hokkaido and Waianae. And you just take that same model across the state depending on the commodity. So this is the middle, right? It begins and ends with DOE, but ADC, so Wendy's here, they'll be working on making sure that we have acquisition of land, building infrastructure, and the shared facilities. That's their kuleana. DOA, they've already said, okay, well, if ADC is going to take on the previous role, then they'll focus on loans and grants to farmers and the state of Hawaii. Then that way we can get some matching funds from USDA to pay for more land, more shared facilities, and more infrastructure. DOA and CTAR, they're actually working right now on this, mapping out where local commodities can and should be grown for import replacement. CTAR is looking at increasing extension agents to focus on different local commodities so that each farmer has the support they need. DBED, they have different programs within their shop for small business, for value added, and for their value added network that they're recently trying to stand up. Let's see here. Leeward, they're looking at micro-credentialing, so they'll be working with DOE. We already fund early college. We fund dual credit, and we also fund, going back down to DLIR, the Heli Imua program. So that allows a student to get their high school degree, their micro-credentialing, they graduate from high school, and then they can actually intern with the state paying through the Heli Imua program. It's a 12-week program, $20 an hour that the state funds. So that allows a student to be able to hopefully get into a real job if they're unable to go to a four-year campus. And of course, DOT is helping with making sure that we can move those commodities. So this is one example. This is several years ago, we went to go see this high school in Hokkaido. So there's quite a bit of schools like this in New Zealand, in Australia, that we can make sure we partner up with DOE. This is Wellington in New Zealand. Okay, so this is a byproduct of what we're trying to accomplish. So as you scale up all the different commodities, you also scale up off-grades and seconds, which allows us now to use that additional inventory of off-grades and seconds for more value-added produce, which we've already begun with the value-added center in Wahiawa and all on the different community colleges. So this past year, we funded Kauai Community College is going to have additional equipment. Palama Nui is going to have additional equipment for value added. And Maui, they already have their Food Innovation Center. So this just is additional to make sure that we can support agriculture. So the whole effort is called Nourishing Hawaii's Future. And it's a statewide effort, and it's going to take all of us. So if we do, these are just, it's going to even be more and more lines as time goes on, as we start to establish more and more commodities. Okay, I see nods, so that's good, because some people had to repeat this 10 times. I'm not mentioning Denise's name. Okay, so then I go back to it begins and ends with DOE, right? But then there's other opportunities here because the farmer now, because they're starting to scale up, they can now support hotels and restaurants. And from the regional kitchen, we can make sure that we also support our correctional facilities, our hospitals, and make sure that we're prepared for natural disasters because now we can actually scale up meals quickly. And because of the foresight of ADC and DBED, with the DBED director and deputy director, they're looking at the HPP machine being right next to the centralized kitchen or the regional kitchen, which allow us to preserve meals and extend shelf life. And then, as I mentioned, it also provides more product for food and product innovation for more value added. So the whole system helps us to create and demand more local infrastructure, workforce capacity, and the shared facilities. So it's not just a Whitmore project, it's not just a Central Oahu project, but because of the Central Oahu Regional Kitchen, it requires us to have a sense of urgency on the commodities and the shared facilities. Because if we don't start to build that out, all we're doing is importing. And then we're leveraging the state's purchasing power. It's going to be better food for our kids. It reduces imports. It helps us with disasters. And then we're also increasing exports because of the value added. So these are all the different partners so far that have helped with this effort. And this is the two groups that went to the two different kitchens, one in Tacoma and one in Sacramento. So it's going to take all of us. This is really exciting because this is one of the few projects that it's not just one department. It's not a silo. You can see here there's the CTAR Dean, there's ADC, there's DOA, Farm Bureau, Hawaii Ag Foundation, DOE, Leeward Community College. It's going to take all of us. So thank you for listening. And if you want a copy of the PowerPoint, we put up the QR code. So mahalo.